Hey everyone, and welcome. My name is John Nerrill. I want to welcome you to my weekly Facebook Live. Today is Tuesday, July 16th. Where is this year going? And I'm really happy to spend some time with you. It's just me today. I don't have a guest this week, which is fine because we're going to have a nice conversation today about what does it mean, or how do you know when it's time to leave your job. So want to thank everybody for joining. For those of you who are new, welcome. You can catch all of the Facebook Lives right here on my Facebook page at John Nerrill Coaching LLC, or you can catch them on my website at johnnerrill.com. And there I've got a wonderful free resource for you. It's called 3 Steps to Creating Your Next Advancement Opportunity Without Feeling Overwhelmed. It's a downloadable e-workbook that you get by going simply to johnnerrill.com/free. You're going to enter in your email address and information. You'll get the workbook, and it'll also put you into my email community where I email everyone 3 times a week around a particular leadership and career topic. So with that being said, again, all of these are archived on my website. I want to welcome people who are coming into the room. It's good to see people today. Wherever you are, I hope you're staying cool because it's really, really hot, humid, and yucky here in Washington, D.C. So it is definitely in the throes of summer. So if you're watching this live, go ahead and type in for me where you're from. Hey, Ken, good to see you. Yeah, no, things are really, really well. Life's good. Business is good. I'm enjoying the summer and everything like that. So I got no complaints. How are things with you? Thanks for hopping around and being able to join. So for those of you who are pretty faithful, you know that my typical time here is Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. But when I switched to an interview format, it was really designed around being able to accommodate whatever time was best for my guests. So this week I get to be the guest, and I can't join you at 1 o'clock tomorrow. So that's why we're doing it today. So thanks for hopping on and joining. So thanks so much. Yeah, Ken, it just seems like it is hot wherever we are. I was following the weather report, and it seemed as if there was the jet stream was just running a little bit higher than usual, so it was pushing all the hot air down and stuff like that. So it's just awful. But it's not raining. The storms have subsided here in DC and stuff like that. So hopefully you're doing well too. All right. So how do you know when it's time to leave your job? Well, this is a question that I am often asked by a lot of my coaching clients. And it certainly is one that I can't tell them specifically the answer to, because that decision has to come from them. The decision to leave your job is a very personal one, right? We have to weigh out what are the pros and cons for staying, as well as what it means to leave. Important thing to remember here is that there's a pay value associated with both decisions. One of the things I always say to my clients is it's important that we understand a conversation around salary. If we're being paid what we're worth and that money is coming in, it needs to take care of our primary responsibilities, and it needs to take care of our loved ones who we're providing care for, any donations we choose to make to our charitable organizations, but also to have a little bit of fun along the way. It's kind of hard to just pick up and leave a job without a safety net, without having something in place. So there are a lot of factors as to why we have to dig really deeply around how do you know when it's time to leave a job. There are a lot of factors that come into it as well. So aside from the compensation piece, we have to take a look at how engaged you are at work. What's your overall job satisfaction? How well do you like working with the people on your team or the people within your organization? How well are you treated? What's your commute like? You know, here in DC, it can be pretty rough commuting if you're driving in or even taking public transportation. oftentimes I'll hear from people that they want to find a job that allows them to work from home. And while we see the workforce getting to be a little bit more virtual, one of the things I have learned throughout my career is that an opportunity to work virtually also has to be earned. You have to prove yourself to your company that you're able to still deliver a quality work product while working from home. Because let's acknowledge there can certainly be some distractions when working from home. So it's important to acknowledge that as well. But in all of this, the key question here, how do you know when it's time to leave your job? You got to listen to that inner voice. There is something that's going on inside of you that is saying to you, you need to start thinking about this. You need to start thinking about whether or not making the move and making the jump to go somewhere else is really worth the time, energy, and investment to see what that actually looks like. To decide that you want to go look for another job, it starts with you getting your resume together and networking and figuring who in your network may be a good connector for you to, see if there's an opening at a particular job, whatever that may be. It's not like, hey, I'm going to go get a job tomorrow and it lands in your lap. I've heard of stories like that, but the likelihood is that that doesn't happen all the time. But that inner voice starts going around in your head and you start thinking, well, I wonder what it would be like if I worked somewhere else, or I wonder what it would look like if I did a different line of work, or if I worked in a different city, whatever that is. When that inner voice starts talking to you loudly, it's there for a reason. You need to listen to it. So what's it saying to you? What are the things that it's telling you in terms of whether or not it really is time to leave your job and go ahead and create that next advancement opportunity? The other thing is, what kind of feedback have you gotten? Now, feedback to me is something that I have always placed a very high value on, providing that the feedback is coming from a reliable source that you trust and is able to give you the information that you need and you want. So I can remember walking into a job and saying to my VP, and asking her very specifically about what my career path was there. And when she confirmed for me that while I was doing great work, I wasn't in a track that was going to see me advance internally, I got the feedback I needed. Oftentimes when people go into performance reviews or they go in for that weekly check-in meeting, one of the biggest mistakes that I find people do is they'll ask their manager, their supervisor, their boss, their director, they'll say, well, how am I doing? Asking a general question like that never gives you any substance to know specifically really how well you're doing. So I coach people around asking more specific questions and having intentional conversations as they show up energetically and professionally in the workplace to go after the information that they need. So something like, how have I done delivering the project on time with this most recent client? How well have I executed on these technical tasks over the past month? Have a more specific conversation around getting the feedback that you need versus the feedback that you want. We all want to be told we're doing a great job. If we ask a vague question, more than likely we're going to get a vague answer. How am I doing? Fine. How did I do with that project? Great. Okay. It becomes a very safe question. You need to be a little vulnerable when appropriate and trust that the person you're speaking with, that you have the trust in the person you're speaking with and soliciting that feedback from is going to give you the rich, robust, and honest feedback that you need in order to help you move forward. Oftentimes when we get that feedback, we can then really determine whether or not we want to stay or we want to go. And that comes back to how we ask the right questions. Think about if you were on the receiving end of that question, how would you answer it? Have that dialogue with yourself back and forth. I used to have a very, very long commute to work, and oftentimes I would play these scenarios out in my head a little bit, and I would think about how, well, if I was asked that question, how would I answer it? So make sure that you're getting really intentional about the questions you want to ask. Ask the right questions to get the information you need. And then also think about how you're honoring your core values. So oftentimes when I'm working with my clients, we talk a lot about job satisfaction and fit. How well do they organizationally fit based on the work that they're doing and the impact that they want to make? Oftentimes when there is a misalignment in either if there's a decrease in their job satisfaction or they don't feel like they particularly fit in, when that happens, there is more often a misalignment to honoring their core values. So we all have the core values that are important for us. It helps us show up energetically and professionally. We work for organizations that have a very specific or mission-driven focus for the work that they do. When those organizational core values do not align with your own, more often than not, that inner voice will kick in and you'll start debating whether or not you want to stay or you want to go. If you don't know what your core values are, I've got some great tools and resources to help you get a little clearer and identify more specifically about what your core values are and how you honor them in the workplace and in your career. So we should have a conversation. But thinking about those core values, get really clear about what they are for you and honor them. Think about how you honor them on a daily basis in the work that you're doing. If there's a misalignment in that core value, more often than not, you are probably questioning whether or not you want to stay or you want to go. And lastly, think about your career path. It is fine. There is nothing wrong with it. There is no judgment. If you are at a place in your career where you are perfectly comfortable and you are okay staying where you are at. We need those in our career. We need to have those times where we're simply taking a pause, we're honing our craft, we're getting really good at what we're doing, and we're not on an upward mobility track to advance within a certain amount of time frame. But if you are on a time frame, if you are thinking that you are ready for a promotion, and you have asked the right questions and you have heard that a promotion is not in the works for you in that organization, you then have to decide, is it worth it for you to stay or is it worth it for you to explore opportunities elsewhere? Knowing what your career path is and where you are headed and where you're going is vital to you knowing whether or not it's worth your time and investment to stay or to take the leap and go somewhere else. When I work with my clients on thinking about a career path, we start at the 5-year mark. Where do you want to be in 5 years? And then I ask them where they want to be in 3 years. And then we work it back to a year, and then 6 months, and 3 months, and 1 month, and 2 weeks, and then 1 week. And then I ask them, where do you want to be tomorrow so you feel as if you are taking progress on this career path? One of the biggest pitfalls we run into is we think that we're going to start getting more active with our career path down the road. And that's fine if that's where it is, but let's acknowledge that and put a pause on anything we're doing now and just kind of hang out where we're at. But if you are actively looking at creating that next advancement opportunity and you want to put a plan into place, then ideally we need to start thinking about what 5 years looks like, what 3 years looks like, all the way back to what tomorrow looks like, so you can start taking progress toward that goal now. It is about taking action. And so ideally, that's what's going to help you decide whether or not you choose to stay or you want to go. Either one is fine. It's whatever is best for you. But again, as that inner voice kind of creeps up and starts talking to you a little bit, let's acknowledge the inner voice is there and figure out exactly how we want to answer it. All right. So for those of you who are listening, are there any particular questions or comments about these thoughts around, how you've known when it was time to stay in a job or when it was time to leave? What does that look like for you? So go ahead and drop me a comment in the box below. Let me know what you're thinking. Wow, Ken, I didn't realize you guys had that much rain. You just said you had 112 days of rain in 123 days. That's crazy. Ugh. All right. Well, at least you got some rain, and I'm sure everything's nice and saturated, but hopefully not too bad in that regard. All right. So yeah, Ken, you or anybody else, if you've got any thoughts, feel free to chime in on that. I do want to say this, though. If you are really questioning about whether or not it is in your best interest to stay in your current job or go, and you want to have a conversation about it, I've got spots available in my calendar each week where I have what I like to call discovery sessions. And so what that means is that I'm going to block off 15 minutes of my calendar for free to you to ask me whatever questions you have regarding what's next for your career. So whether you're looking about creating your next advancement opportunity, or you're looking for help and coaching around a particular job situation you're dealing with, you can email me directly at john@johnneral.com and say, hey, John, I heard your show and I very simply want to know, I want to, book some time on your calendar and ask you a couple of questions. That's what that time is there for. So I am there to help and to support and to serve you in any way I can through these discovery sessions. And again, they are free. So you can just go ahead and email me at john@johnneral.com and I'll send you my calendar link and you can go ahead and book that session. So I look forward to hearing from you really soon about that. All right. So it looks like we don't have any other comments around this topic. And so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. But again, if you're thinking about whether or not it is time for you to stay in your job or go, if you're having that conversation with yourself, something's going on. So take some time to really pause and figure that out. Get the feedback you need, get the information you want, listen to that inner voice, weigh out the pros and cons between staying and going, and I know you will make the best decision for you in that regard. So until next time, I wish you a great rest of the day. Stay tuned. I do have some interesting guests lined up that I'm really excited to bring to you over the next couple of weeks. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show and you have a particular story you want to share about how you've created your next advancement opportunity and what it means for you to show up energetically in the workplace, drop me an email at john@johnneral.com and let's have a conversation and get you on the show. So until next time, I wish you a great rest of the day. Enjoy, be well, stay safe. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Thanks, everybody. Bye.